The island of St. Helena is an isolated one. I mean, there's a reason Napoleon was sent over there. And so, the island has always needed a connection. Before the airport was built, however, they used to use a ship, and this ship was not like any other, one of the last RMS ships in the world, or as they are also known, Royal Mail ships. This was the RMS St. Helena. Before the current St. Helena we all know and love today was constructed, there was a previous cargo vessel also called the RMS St. Helena. This one took on more of a design of a traditional cargo ship. However, she was apparently a very luxurious ship and took on the design element that would be used in many cargo liners, which was passenger amenities aft and the cargo in the front. Eventually, she would be sold to a Greek company and scrapped. Before we move on, however, I should probably explain what is a cargo liner to the majority of people who don't know, which is everyone. Basically, a cargo liner is something that carries both passengers and cargo. Some may be saying that ocean liners themselves carry both passengers and cargo, but cargo liners are mainly cargo, with also passenger amenities. It's a bit hard to draw the line between cargo liner and ocean liner, but you can tell from the appearance of something when it's a cargo liner or an ocean liner. I mean, look at the Titanic, that does not look like a cargo liner to me. Eventually, in 1989, the new RMS St. Helena would be ready. However, due to sea trials and some unforeseen maintenance flaws, the ship would not actually make her first voyage to the island until 1990. Immediately upon entering service, she was beloved by the islanders, probably as well just because the ship was much more luxurious than her predecessor, including things like a pool, a large eating area, and many luxurious cabins. In fact, she was often known as just a cruise ship. As well as that, because although many ships had came to St. Helena over the years, they never ever invested to build a proper port. Therefore, instead, the ship was serviced by lighters when they went into the bay. A lighter is basically a barge that ferries cargo from a ship to the mainland, and if you're from Hong Kong, you know them best as these little things with barges and a giant crane. While I would love to, I can't give a full concise tour of the ship because resources on the interiors are limited, even though full tours do exist, but there's not much of a layout on where these areas were, and watching some of the videos you'll only know where you are if you are already familiar with the design of the ship. I can say though that the ship was very luxurious and had one lounge, 2 restaurants, an outdoor area at the back with a pool as well, and some other areas to watch and eat from above that pool deck. She also had capacity for 155 passengers. In fact, there were such times where the ship was carrying such little cargo that it could be stored all below and the cargo deck would be completely free to use. In this case, they'd turn it into either a tennis court, or in this photo, a deeper pool, even though the back pool would be preferred by the majority of people on the ship. By 2015, the ship had become beloved not only by St. Helenians, but also around the entire South Atlantic, at places like Tristan da Cunha and Ascension Island. However, as time went on, people came to ask, is another ship really the best way to supply the island? I mean, for the Pitcairn Islands, at least that has some justification to use boats, because there's so little people there and barely anywhere to build an airport. However, St. Helena is a pretty big island, with a decent population. Eventually it was determined, no, St. Helena would not be using another ship, and thus St. Helena Airport was constructed, thus the use of the RMS St. Helena was now no longer needed. After many delays that kept the St. Helena in service for a while, on the 10th of October 2018, the RMS St. Helena made her last voyage from St. Helena Island to Cape Town, South Africa, with a future uncertain. For a while, she was used by the British military as a floating armory in the Gulf of Oman, where there was increasingly unstable waters. Eventually, though, she was sold to St. Helena LLC. This was a management company set up for the only purpose was to manage the ship. St. Helena LLC then leased out the ship to Extreme E. Extreme E, from what I can find, does racing events with electric cars in the areas of the world most affected by climate change. There's future plans to turn the ship's engines into more eco-friendly engines, and eventually to turn her into a fully electric ship once the technology gets there. So, what is the future of St. Helena shipping? Where will Extreme E race next? And what is that other ship that I mentioned from the Pitcairn Islands? That's a very good question.